Hello. Below are the daily news topics followed by short, listener-friendly summaries of each item in 3 to 4 lines. Topic 1: AI sector turmoil and government ties. The Trump administration effectively blacklisted Anthropic after the Pentagon labeled it a supply chain risk and ordered federal agencies to stop using its products, while OpenAI announced a deal to deploy its models on a U.S. classified military network. Anthropic had insisted on safety clauses banning large-scale domestic surveillance and fully autonomous lethal weapons for a roughly $200 million military contract. The Pentagon demanded models be available for all lawful uses, and the failed negotiation led to Anthropic's supply chain designation and its vow to pursue legal action. OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman says OpenAI holds the same red lines on surveillance and lethal autonomy, and that those principles were reflected in its Pentagon agreement, backed by technical safeguards and on-site staff to ensure safe operation. The divergent treatment of Anthropic and OpenAI is unclear to outsiders, but it has already escalated political scrutiny, contract competition, legal risk, and a chilling effect on industry-government cooperation, with public reactions from lawmakers, rival companies, and potential regulatory changes expected. Topic 2: Rising Middle East violence and repercussions. U.S. and Israeli strikes targeted Iran, and Tehran launched missile retaliation toward U.S., Israeli, and regional sites, producing explosions, interceptions, and a cascade of condemnations across the region. Airspace closures in the UAE and Qatar forced hundreds of flight cancellations and large-scale airline rerouting, while Gulf states reported missile intercepts and implemented defensive measures. Energy markets reacted with a rise in oil prices. Amid fears of disruptions to shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, investors moved toward safe havens like gold, and analysts warned of potential supply shocks if hostilities expand. Diplomatic activity surged. Regional Gulf states condemned Iran's strikes, France sought an emergency UN Security Council session, Russia criticized the U.S. war and Israel, and several countries issued embassy shelter-in-place advisories as the risk of broader escalation and prolonged instability grew. Topic 3: Major entertainment, media consolidation and concerns. Warner Bros. Discovery agreed to be acquired by Paramount Skydance for $31 per WBD share, implying roughly $77 billion in equity value and an enterprise value above $110 billion, covering HBO, Warner Studios, HBO Max, CNN, and all WBD businesses, subject to shareholder and regulatory approvals. Netflix dropped out of the bidding and received a $2.8 billion breakup fee, while Paramount agreed to pay roughly $7 billion if regulators block the deal. And the transaction is driven by David Ellison, with backing tied to Larry Ellison, creating the prospect of a vast media conglomerate. Journalists and staff at legacy news outlets worry about editorial independence, as major newsrooms would sit under one corporate roof, and employees across the combined companies fear sweeping cost cuts and potential mass layoffs tied to a cited $6 billion cost savings target. The deal has drawn sharp political and regulatory scrutiny from U.S. lawmakers, state attorneys general, and international regulators over antitrust and media concentration concerns, with potential hearings and intervention likely, and broad consumer worries about reduced choice, higher prices, and diminished competition. Topic 4: NASA's Artemis II milestone and context. Artemis II will carry a 4-person crew on a crewed circumlunar mission, the first black astronaut to fly around the moon, pilot Victor Glover, and the first woman to fly around the moon, mission specialist Christina Koch, alongside Commander Reed Wiseman and Canadian mission specialist Jeremy Hansen. The flight is a return-to-moon milestone but will not include a landing. The mission, delayed from an initial February target to at least